and welcome to Real Talk with Abori.
They won't stop me, but I'm still standing. I'm the illest, that's what I'm saying. Taking over, they think I'm playing. They be talking and they be snitching. Don't like snitches, all in my business. They be hating, jealous, they working. Jealous, they working. They be hating, jealous, they working. When they hating, I just be chilling. So I tell them, get on the floor, have some fun. To the beat, let it rain.
Hello and welcome to Real Talk. This show is dedicated to having conversations that matter to you. Women from all walks of life, no matter what age you are, no matter what stage you are in. We hope that you can come here, get some valuable information that you can use throughout your life. Today, we have some treats for you. First of all, we have relationship expert Yewande Akinjaiyeju. She is going to talk to us about some romance. Who doesn't love romance? How to keep the spice going in your marriage and some tips and tricks to have a romantic date night at home. We also have Introspection guide, Miss Tracie J. Now, if you've never heard of an introspection guide, that is your motivation to stay tuned because she's going to walk us through some questions to ask yourself to make sure that you're being at your best in your roles in life, whether that be a businesswoman, a mother, a wife. She has a way of counseling you that helps you to ask yourself the right questions so you can get the answers that you need. So stay tuned. We have some cool things for you today on Real Talk with Abori. Hello and welcome to Real Talk. Today we have a treat for all the couples out there. We have with us Miss Yewande Akinjaiyeju. She is a marriage and relationships expert, and the reason I have her here is because some of the most romantic experiences that my husband and I have been at events planned by Yewande and her husband TK. She has a knack for putting in a romantic flair. Now, every now and then, to be able to go away and to a romantic getaway is great. But how practical is it when you have little ones and work and things like that? So today we're going to talk about something different. What are some things you can do in your home to keep the spice going in your marriage, to keep the romance going? So Yewande, I just want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Could you just tell our guest, our audience, a little bit about you and your family and what you do?
Absolutely. So me and my husband, like you mentioned, we have been together for, going over 10 years now. We actually met in Maryland. He was at school and I was visiting. So we did the long distance thing for a little while before we got married and moved to the States. We now have two wonderful children, 4 and 5 years old. And we spend most of our time working between ministry. My husband's an engineer and I work for a technology company.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So what is it, what made you become so interested in romance, and how exactly do you get your ideas?
Yeah, so I think for me, honestly, actually, it really was about the journey that me and my husband have gone through as a married couple. I think, I really believe that God had just allowed us to experience just a real plethora of just ups and downs that really helped us understand what it meant to really work towards a really successful marriage. Mm-hmm. And so I just felt like if this was something I was going through, maybe others could also learn from it. And so it really has been God inspired in the sense that how can I give back? How can we just give back and connect other people that are on this journey? We don't have all the answers, but there's something about sharing what you have learned with others and just helping each other along the way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about romance at home. Mm-hmm. So if you were to give just one or two principal things, what are some tips that you can give women who want to keep the romance going in their home?
Absolutely, and we all want this, we're always
right.
asking each other, and I think it can be simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. One of the things that I've long learned and really felt is really important is just give each other a kiss. There's something so basic in mm-hmm. just remembering to mm-hmm. just be affectionate, and that can be on your way out on your way out from work, when you're coming in. Stop and just give each other a kiss. Mm-hmm. Another thing I think is really special is just taking those moments to just connect with each other. In the busyness, I know for me, getting a 4 and 5-year-old out the door in the morning to activities and homework, you can sometimes go the whole day without stopping and just saying, how are you, honey?
Right.
And so we do that. You know, you just take a minute, even if it's rushing from one thing, where we just grab each other, look in each other's eyes, and just say, how are you, honey?
Yeah,
and that's just
definitely
a moment that you share between each other.
And I like what you're saying, because it really has to be intentional. It's so easy to just get wrapped up in the kids and work and different things, especially my husband and I run a business together. So it's so easy for us to sit and look at each other, and the whole time we're talking about the business and never talk to each other like we're spouses. So it really has to, and I've been married just over 3 years, but it really has to be intentional. I have to remember, like, this is my husband, this is my boo, you know, remember the days when we were dating and everything was so exciting, and really like try to channel that. Also, when you're living with someone and you have kids, I have to remember, like, just to look nice, or even like smell nice, you know what I'm saying? Those little things that, and he appreciates it. It may not, he may not ever say it, but I know when I am making that effort, he appreciates it more.
Absolutely. We all have been guilty of the sweatpant weeks where you just realize that, when was the last time I even just made a little bit of an effort to just, wear something a little bit more special to bed. And I think it's that, like you said, intentionality, just stopping for a moment and maybe putting the sweatpants away for one night and putting something special on. He'll notice.
Definitely. So Yewande is going to walk us through the perfect date night at home. So like I was saying, you can't always get away, but there may be some nights where you could take the kids, maybe have them spend the night at somebody else's house, or you can just put them to bed early. So Yewande is going to give us some tips and tricks to have a romantic night at home. Stay tuned. Yewande, walk us through just some key things for having a romantic night at home.
Absolutely. So actually, it can be really simple, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. Some ideas that you have at home. It doesn't take a lot. My first one, candles. I absolutely love candles. I think there's nothing more romantic than just setting lights, some candles around the home. It instantly changes the mood and just creates an atmosphere. You can't be mad when there's a candle on. I charge you to try and be mad when there's a candle on. And another idea that I have, if you've only got some maybe very basic candles, try adding some perfume, little drops of perfume to a candle. Again, it could be an old candle that you've had lying around. It could just be out of date, or just even if it's gone right down to the wick. Add a little bit of perfume to the candle, light it, and then you've got an amazing aroma, amazing kind of atmosphere that you're creating at home. Another idea that I think is really fun, and one of my favorite ideas is CDs, mixtapes. Nothing my husband and I love more than just taking out some old CDs from, I'm talking back in the day, when we were young, I'm talking in high school, when we were dating. There is something almost transportative about listening to music from just whatever your back in the day is. And so we will literally sit there and just go through songs after songs, just remembering where we were. Even when you were dating, maybe there's music from the time that you were dating. These days you can put it on your iPod. You can go, whatever you have.
That's a great idea. Toby and I, we actually did a wedding CD. It was one of our favorites we gave out at that wedding. And it was songs that we listened to, when we were dating, or this just kind of spoke to our relationship. So anytime, even when we're on our way somewhere, like I'll just pop our wedding CD in, and that's just like, it just reminds us, like, I love this guy, this is fun, we're still there, we're still those two people. So I love that. The music can really just take you there.
It really does. We did this, I think it was like Wednesday night, and we were just lost for like just hours, and we were just dancing around like teenagers. It was so much fun. And again, not expensive, whether it's on Spotify, Pandora, just go create a music list for yourself and just transport your guys back. Love it. My other idea is really something that I recently came across. Blue Apron, HelloFresh, there are a number of companies now that are doing these box meals that you can get delivered to your home. What's really fun about those actually is that you can pick something really exotic, something that you would never make for yourself at home. And the two of you could just have fun one night just cooking a beautiful dish. The ingredients come all measured out, and you just have a fun together, just kind of, sauteing salmon or frying up some beans, whatever it is that you choose.
Right. I love the idea of doing new things together, because because I think that just something about getting you out of your element and trying something new with your spouse brings out sides of them you may have never seen. You know what I'm saying? You know, I remember a marriage retreat that we went on together, and just going swimming with my spouse, no kids around to like carry around. It was just the two of us. We had fun like kids, and I didn't even realize my husband cannot swim. And he's like flapping his arms. I mean, really one of the best memories I have of being married. So I love that. Just simple things you can do, just to remind each other that you love each other and that the spice is there.
Absolutely. And the great thing about a lot of these things, they're not expensive because there's a lot of coupons.
Right.
A lot of these companies are promoting themselves, so you can get almost half price off. Groupon do great deals. So one night, go order something, you know, order it up. It gets delivered next day, and you have amazing meal for both of you to try.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being
You're
here,
welcome.
Yewande.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
One of the keys to a happy and healthy life is to know how to manage your stress. And let's just face it, you can't eliminate stress altogether out of your life, right? But you can learn how to manage it. My name is Abori, and I'm a certified stress management coach and the author of the book Crush Stress While You Work. So if you want to recontrol your life and get the tips and tricks how to manage your stress, please go to Amazon.com and purchase my book, Crush Stress While You Work.
If you'd like to hear more from Yewande, you're in luck. Yewande and I are working on a new project called Pebble.com. It's going to be a blog where she's going to be the relationships editor. So go to Pebble.com and you can get more tips and tricks on marriage and relationships from Yewande. So stay tuned. We have some cool things for you today on Real Talk with Abori. So Tracie, first, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am a Houston native, which is rare in Houston these days. Most everybody is a transplant. I am a mom of 3 amazing daughters. They are 19, 21, and 23.
Wow.
I have a master's degree in strategic communication and leadership, and I am the world's only introspection guide.
So, what is that? What is the introspection guide? Tell us.
So I help people find their questions. You know, most of us, all of us, have the answers already. We just don't always know which questions to ask. And so I help guide people to their questions.
That's so interesting. So, you know, I was spending some time, I'm a Christian, you know, I was in the Bible just kind of reading the Word. And I had this idea, like, you always hear about strategy, right? God can give you a strategy to overcome things. So the word strategy didn't always like click for me. But then I heard the word recipe, and I was like, okay, I can do a recipe, right? Like if you give me a recipe, I can make it happen, right? So is that what you mean? That, you know, kind of asking God the right questions or asking yourself the right, tell me.
Yeah, so it's asking ourselves the right questions. So anytime that we want to build relationships with people, we ask them questions, right? So the same should be true if you're trying to build a relationship with yourself. And so much of who we are comes from what other people have told us we are. And so we don't usually take the time to figure out who we really are, like from our own point of view. And so one of the ways to be able to do that better is to ask yourself better questions.
So what do you say is the benefit of that?
So one major benefit is clarity. I find that when we have these deep conversations with ourselves, then we are more clear about who we are and who we present to the world. So many times we are trying to be some version of ourselves that will make somebody else comfortable or happy. But when we're clear about who we are, then the goal is to make sure that we're okay with who we are, and then draw the people who are okay with that, as opposed to the other way around.
So how did you get started with this?
So it's sort of a winding trail. It originally started with relationships. I was in a marriage, and my husband and I did some work together around relationship work with other couples. And we discovered that there are some critical questions that people should ask one another before they're engaged, you know, and before they make this lifelong commitment with each other.
Right.
And so we originally were talking about doing this sort of pre-engagement coaching with couples. But the more I considered that work, the more I thought about people as in themselves and how we oftentimes go into relationships with other people, and not just romantic relationships, business relationships, friendships with other people, without being 100% ourselves. And so then we, one, attract people to us that we don't really mean to attract, and two, then we spend all of our energy trying to complete somebody else rather than being complete within ourselves. So originally this journey inward was about helping people to become more of themselves before they joined forces with some whole other person.
Yeah, that's really deep, and that resonates with me, you know, because I am an African who has been in America since I was, 5 years old. So I've always been, in between these two cultures, and I'm not enough of an African to be, part of that, and I'm not enough of an American to be part of that. So I found myself a lot of my life trying to fit in and not really getting to know myself. And it wasn't until I got the courage to show up as myself, to get to know myself and actually show up, this is me, take it or leave it.
Right.
That is when my life started to make sense. That's when things started clicking for me romantically, in my career. All of that before, I think about all the times that I just drove myself crazy trying to mold, contort myself into all these molds. And then I was like, wait a second. God made me who I am, fearfully and wonderfully. So there's no reason I should be faking, Right. And so I love that. I love that you do that. So do you do it with your daughters? Is that something that you've practiced with them?
Not intentionally. So we don't sit on the couch and chat about life and who you are. But I guess that I have just sort of rubbed off on them, because they are their own woman, each of them. They hold no punches about who they are. They show up as themselves. They don't fake or pretend. It's, love me or leave me alone. And I'm so proud of that.
And raising daughters, I have a 9-year-old stepdaughter who lives with us, and only now that she's getting older, I'm realizing the incredible responsibility it is to raise a little girl into a young woman, and then one day a woman, and all the little intricacies of doing that. And it really, if I say there's one thing that has stretched me to where I am today, it's probably been that. When I got married, I became an instant mom, and I was 26 years old, and I went from living alone, doing my thing, had my career, whatever, going to school and homework and doctor's appointments and all that within the span of a couple of months. So
right.
it was a crazy time, but it showed me that I really need to get to know who I am, and it also showed me that this little girl is watching me, and I could do something that gets something about myself that gets on my nerves, right? Yeah. And then she does it, and I'm like, no, this has to stop. I had to really grow up, and that really took time in prayer, time just talking to myself. And look what you're doing. You're making me so contemplative. So you know what you're doing.
That's the goal, right? Is to not just talk to ourselves, because oftentimes when I tell people what I do, they say, oh, I talk to myself all the time. But do you stop and listen to yourself too? Because we talk to ourselves all the time, and mostly it's in a critical way. But the concept of introspection is not about being critical. It's just about knowing. It's just about hearing your own voice.
And not judging that voice. Yeah.
And accepting that voice for who it really is. And then deciding, you know, maybe there are things that other people dislike about me, but I really love them. Mm-hmm. And so owning that, or saying, you know, there's some stuff about myself I really want to address, and fixing it.
So I bet it's been just a journey to getting to where you are now.
It has been.
What would you say is like a pivotal moment that kind of clicked for you, that made you, you know, decide to show up as yourself?
Wow. So I think, well, 2 failed marriages might have something to do with that. You know, when you're in a relationship with someone and you think that it's going to be forever, and then you realize it's not, then there are some questions that go with that, you know. And for women especially, we take ownership so much of failures in relationships.
Of everything.
Of everything.
Yeah.
But then we're like overly critical and like, what did I do, and how could I have fixed this, and I probably could have saved it. Well, my first marriage, I was 20. I was a little girl. Like, I didn't know any better. My daughters are 19, 21, and 23. So, like, the idea of them, like, wanting to be married to somebody right now at these ages, I can't even imagine that, right? So in that first version of myself, and in that first marriage, like, I didn't know, right? And we get married for the wrong reasons, you know, because we think we should or whatever. So then, fast forward, and I married the person who I thought, oh my God, this is forever, right? And then it wasn't. And then we had to like figure out, well, why? Because for both of us, it was a second marriage, and we thought, you know, a forever thing. And it turns out that neither of us was really ready. We looked ready on paper, but we weren't ready emotionally. And so we brought all this stuff with us to this marriage, and it wasn't until like somebody starts sticking a finger in your wounded places that you notice, oh, that still hurts.
Right. Yeah. But definitely marriage makes you take a hard look at yourself in the mirror, and whatever issues you have, it kind of brings them to the forefront. So I can see that. So when you asked yourself after these 2 failed marriages, when you started asking yourself the questions, what answers did you get?
So well, one of the answers was that I still had a lot of stuff that I was carrying around with me that I needed to let go of.
Baggage.
Yeah, so much baggage. And not all of it was intentional. You know, sometimes we pick up stuff, we hold on to it because we mean to. Like, no, I'm going to need this, it's important. But some of it was just like, oh, I still have that? You know? So that was like a major sort of aha thing for me, was like, I'm still carrying around stuff from childhood and from teenage years and from that other marriage and just stuff. You know?
That makes sense. So I think there might be some people watching now who are still like a little vague on the concept. So let's like walk me through it. Like you know, we might have to edit some of this, but walk me through the introspection process.
Okay, so this can happen one of 2 ways. You can participate as part of a group, which I find people like better, because then you don't feel like you're like in counseling. But if we do it one-on-one, then you tell me a little bit about who you are. I have some sort of blanket questions that I ask. And then I will develop some questions that I think would be good for you to ask yourself based on what you've told me so far.
So what would you want me to ask myself?
Okay, so I know like 4 things about you so far. I know that you are a mom by marriage.
And I have a son.
And you have a son. Okay, so you're a mom. You are a wife. you're a Christian, you're an entrepreneur, so a business person. One of the things that I like to ask moms, or I like to have moms ask themselves, is, am I okay? Because so much of our time and effort and energy is focused on everybody around us, and we don't just check in with ourselves just to say, like, how am I doing? You know, so that would be one of them. Just like, whenever I do introspection work with people, we focus on big life questions because we ask little life questions all the time. And in a regular session, I would give you the question, I would have you respond to the question like from your gut, your immediate response, and then we would take some time in silence for you to like really like take the time to hear from yourself and then respond again.
So do you journal it, or how do you like record?
So just in our sessions, we just use a worksheet. But if it were going to be some kind of an ongoing practice, which I recommend people, once they start, that they continue on their own, then I would encourage you to keep a journal of your own big life questions and those responses.
Am I okay? That's a deep one. I mean, and you know, my gut says yes. Have I always been okay? No. Am I okay every day? No. You know what I'm saying? Right. There are some days where I'm like, I am overstretched, overwhelmed. But then there are some days where I just feel like I have the privilege of being part of something really wonderful here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's just like these moments that just make everything worth it. Even with my husband, with you know, all the kind of duties I have to like be his helper and to, you know, learn him and learn to work with him and learn to communicate in his language. You know, it's a lot, you know. And then I think, okay, then I still have me in my life. Right. Recently, I just decided to go on a health journey. Okay. So I am eating right and I am working out 5 a.m. workouts and stuff, and that's all about me. Well, that's like, great. Well, thanks. I have a 15-month-old, and I just, you know, I just gained all kinds of weight during the pregnancy, and I just got to the point where I'm like, if I don't do this for me, it's going to affect the other parts of my life. You know, I have to. At first, it was like, am I really going to spend 2 hours in the gym? Like, that seemed like so outlandish to me when I had business to do, I had dishes to do, I had, you know, kids, but, you know, it started out just me going when they went to sleep, when everybody was asleep, and then eventually I just decided this is how I want to start my day. Like, this is now, like, going to the gym in the morning has now become like my me time, you know, and so I'm on a journey to being okay.
If you would like to know more about introspection and the journey within yourself, you can find me at traciej.com. It's TRACIEJAE.com. And I'm Tracie J everywhere on the internet, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Awesome. So we want to thank Miss Tracie J for being here today. And like she said, if you want to be part of this, either in a personal session or a group session, go to her website, see what she's about. I know for me, I feel a little bit more relieved just asking myself that question. So, you know, there's something to it. We appreciate you for being here, Tracie.
Thank you so much.
No problem. If you want to hear more from Tracie J, she is on every social media platform as Tracie J. Also, if you'd like to be counseled by Tracie J, you can go to her website, traciej.com. We want to say thank you to our sponsors. First, we have Cultural Expression. These guys have these cool origin shirts that allow you to share your nationality with everyone around you. If you'd like to snag one of these cool shirts, go to culturalexpression.com. Next, we have Miss Lolita Guarin, who is a stress management coach. If you have stress or you just want somebody to kind of help you through your stress or have her come speak at your event, go to beamazingyou.com. Thank you for watching Real Talk. Have a great day.